Very quickly, I run the Thomson Reuters Foundation, and we have 4 programs at the foundation, and the 4 of them work in sync to try to fight slavery. Many other things, but slavery is one of the core action that we take. Our first program is that we have a team of journalists covering what we call the underreported stories. And the underreported stories are namely women's rights, humanitarian issues, migrants issues, slavery and trafficking, and since this year we start to cover a totally underreported story, which is the access to land and access to property. Just know that women, for instance, own only 20% of the land in the world, that if you are in Africa and you lose your husband, probably the land will go to his brother and not to you, so you are left with nothing, etc. So it's a crucial issue that nobody covers. We are going to shed a lot of light on this, as we did 6 years ago when we launched Trust Women on slavery and trafficking. At the time, I put slavery and trafficking on the agenda because I was shocked that my fellow journalists and all the people I knew didn't know that there are 36 million slaves in the world. And we have shed a lot of light, and now you have a lot of investigation from the best, from the New York Times, from the Guardian, from the BBC, from everywhere, covering the issue. We try to do the same. Since the beginning of the year, we have 2 journalists in India covering on a daily basis slavery and human trafficking. And it's not only published in English and in all the languages of Reuters where it goes on the wires, but it is also translated in Tamil and in Hindu to have bigger access to all the press in India. India has half of the slaves in the world, so it's important. We started by India now. The second program we do is training of journalists around the world. So recently we were training last week in Singapore a team of journalists from all over Southeast Asia on how to cover slavery and trafficking in your country. And as you know, it's something sometimes very difficult to cover when governments are in total denial or worse. So we do that massively. And the third program is Trust Law. And Trust Law has become, I created it in 2010, and it was to spread the practice of pro bono in the world. And today we operate in 177 countries. We have almost 600 law firms members, more than 3,000 NGOs and social enterprise that we vet. Many of these NGOs work in the front line of this fight against trafficking and slavery. And through Trust Law, we do a lot of cross-border research with the best law firms to help these NGOs push for laws, for everything they need in their country. We have just published a very interesting research, legal research on the fishing industry for the vote of, hopefully the vote of a law in the Philippines, etc. So this is the third program. And the fourth one is Trust Women, which has become the biggest conference on slavery and trafficking. It's a conference where we take action. So the kind of actions we have taken at Trust Women was one that I took with Cyrus Vance, who is the Manhattan District Attorney, the prosecutor for New York. And it was to convince all the American banks to look at the credit card data of their clients and see when there is a pattern of human trafficker. And it's pretty easy to see because you use your credit card for everything you do. So we designed the red flags with the best NGO in the US. And the biggest banks in the US have incorporated these red flags in their software to then, when they see all flashing, report to law enforcement. Cyrus Vance was back at the conference 2 years ago to say that since this is in place, the number of suspicious reports has increased considerably, which allows him to prosecute slavers, not only on the strengths of the victim, which, as we know, has been abused for so many years and sometimes is really not strong, but also on the strengths of data, and it helps a lot. So that's what we do at the foundation. I just want to tell you one last thing that I think is very important, especially in view of all you said about business, etc. We have just launched one month ago the Stop Slavery Award. And we will give the Stop Slavery Award at the next conference on the 30th of November in London. It's an art sculpture designed by Anish Kapoor. Anish Kapoor has joined now the Trust Women conference and is very, very convinced of the need to fight against trafficking. So it's an artwork from Anish Kapoor that we will give to corporations that are the best in class in their industry to try to clean their supply chain from forced labor. So it's not they are slave-free, because nobody is slave-free, I think. We never know in what we buy, in what we eat, in the products we use to work and to do things if we are slave-free. But it will recognize the companies that do the biggest effort to try to clean their supply chain. And we will not compare Zara to Apple. It will be per industry. So we have put a board of judges for this award because we wanted a very independent board. So we have on it Kailash Satyarthi with the Nobel Prize in India. He received the Nobel Prize in the same time as Malala, so nobody spoke of him, but he was the man since 30 years rescuing children from slavery in India, which is no small job. We have Kevin Ireland, of course. We have Cyrus Vance in the US. We have John Ruggie, who is the professor in Harvard who designed the UN Principles for Business and Human Rights, and Richard Edelman, who is the founder of Edelman, the PR company, because I need people to help me in the outreach to companies. So that's a good judging board. And we will not publish the names of the candidates. We will publish only the shortlisted, because we don't want to intimidate anybody. So if you know companies who are really looking well into their supply chain, please go on the www.stopslaveryaward.com. And there is the questionnaire that we have put together with Baker & McKenzie, the law firm, and specialists of the auditing of supply chains. And the more candidates we will have, the better we will be. And I hope we will have at least one, maybe more, that will be receiving the award on the 30th of November. Thank you very much.
Thank you.